Hello and welcome again to Countdown to the Genies. I'm your host, Brian Lanahan, and we're closer to the big event, this year's Genie Awards. The show is being broadcast live here on CBC at 8 p.m. this Thursday night. And for the next 3 nights, we continue to build up to those celebrations with a look at Canadian films of years past. Tonight, it's director Yves Simoneau's 1990 comedy, Perfectly Normal. And with us is one of the stars of the film, Michael Riley. Welcome. Now, Michael, you and I both had the same reaction. I said Yves Simoneau, 1990, and you kind of went...
Yeah, time. Doesn't feel like, 13 years ago, but...
Is it unfair to look at an actor who has done all you have done since 1990 and say, well, Michael, what are your reflections from 1990 and Yves Simoneau and Quarrington and all the writers? What do you think of when you think of Perfectly Normal now?
I think of a film experience, because it was my first feature film, and I think about it as an experience that spoiled me, that kind of set a creative precedent in my head that, you know, it's very rare that it's broken, because it was, Yves allowed such a collaborative kind of ensemble in that piece and kind of allowed me into his process so readily, and I had nothing to compare it to because I'd never done a feature before, that I just assumed that all directors worked this way. So that was great. How
did you come to be cast in Perfectly Normal?
I think I was just in the cattle call with everybody else, and we sat down together and mostly just, you know, talked about the character. I think I read briefly, but it was really kind of establishing a rapport with each other. And the funny thing was, once I did the audition, and I don't even think there was a callback. I think it was the audition. I found out a week later or something, and then I figured, you know, I'd come from the theater, never done a feature, so I just thought, well, I'm going to have to rehearse on my own, and we're not going to get to do any of that. But I was anxious because I had some skills to learn that I didn't know before, so I was anxious to get together with him, and I thought, I'll just call him. I know he's really busy, he's a director, but I'll call him, and I said, Yves, do you think that it's Michael, do you think we could get together? I know you're busy, but maybe just for like 15 minutes or a lunch to talk about the character. He says, oh my God, we're going to be spending the next 4 or 5 weeks together, and we did. We basically sat in front of the script, and I did, you know, goalie training in the morning and opera singing in the afternoon, and we just spent the days going through every piece and every page of the thing. And he would, by the time we got to principal photography, I knew the pieces that he was using underneath certain scenes, and, you know, the lenses and the way he'd shoot it, and it was just such a shorthand by the time we got to the set that it was. And like I say, I thought all films were shot that way, and I think the next film I did, I don't know what it was, but it was certainly not like that. So that was unique. I remember that relationship mostly.
What was the turning point for you as the son of bankers who ended up at the National Theatre School? What propelled you to the theatre school?
I think like a lot of actors, I kind of discovered through high school. I had I was lucky to have a very experienced and passionate theater teacher in high school named Kate Roberts. And, you know, usually the acting teacher in high school is the gym teacher with the 3-week drama course or something, and you do Oklahoma every year. But by the time I got to the end of grade 13, I'd done 32 plays for the public, 3 days, but it was like a little mini theater school. And by the time I got to the end of that, I kind of thought quite seriously that I'd like to do it, and I went to the bankers and ran that by them, and
went to Ma and Pa.
Yeah, sat down the brochures on the kitchen table, and these are the universities, and here's the theater school that I'd like to go to, and, you know, and basically what it wasn't an ultimatum, but they said, well, you know, if you get into this National Theatre School place, then maybe there's something in that, because it seems like it's very hard to get in and blah, 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 but if not, you know, maybe you should, you know, take it in university, but, you know, look at other options. And so I kind of became fixated on getting into the place, so.
In fact, Michael, weren't there something like in excess of 20,000 the year you were one of the half dozen accepted?
Yeah, I think it was like, yeah, it was a large number. I don't know what it was, but a lot of people apply, yeah. And then you start up like 15 or 16, and then I think ours was the largest class to graduate since 62 or 67 or something, and we graduated as 12, I believe, out of 15.
And who was in your class?
Well, Susan Coyne was in my class, and Ted Dykstra was in my class, and Helen Taylor was in my class, and yeah, it was a good year. It was a good year. Most of the theater school is, about the teachers and the students you happen to find yourself with, and I was fortunate. There was a core that kind of formed right away, and I was only 18 years old, and a lot of, I know Ted had been to university and acted professionally already, and I think Susan had a degree in something, so we all met in different kind of places, but that was also, a great 3 years.
And your first paying job as an actor?
My first paying job as an actor was in the middle of theater school. One of the directors, Perry Schneiderman, asked me to come up to the Piggery Theater, and I did Ladies in Retirement. That was my first paying theater gig in North Hatley, Quebec.
The Eastern Townships.
Yeah, in the Eastern Townships.
You really are a dichotomy as a Canadian actor. You win awards, you star in series, you had the tremendous success of Power Play. You go to California, you put 8 years of your life into living in Los Angeles. You always seem to be on the cusp of getting the vehicle that pushes the actor over.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a combination of your integrity, your stubbornness, that you do have standards, but you came back. Why, after 8 years of pursuing that the way you did you come back from Los Angeles?
Wow. It was a lot of things. I had stuff going on in my personal life. I had our daughter was going to be turning 5, and didn't want to put her in the school system in Los Angeles. And creatively, I kind of, I just came down from there. I still go out for pilot season and so on and maintain my representation, but creatively I needed to get out again and kind of just recharge. My threshold for tolerating the place at a certain level for me personally just kind of reached a place where I just needed to come back. And I was only planning to come back for a couple of months, and then and I was left the coffee cup basically on the counter in the house, and then Power Play happened. I went in and auditioned for it, and 10, 15 days later it was like, oh, I'm doing a series. And I guess by the time I surfaced from that experience after 2 seasons, it was like I was basically back in Toronto, and my daughter was in school in Toronto, so then it just became kind of pilot seasons and going out. So it was kind of a series of things, I guess.
Have you maintained friendships with people like Heath Lamberts?
Heath, no. Heath was, I just knew him from the play, from You Can't Take It With You, and Derek Golby, and no, but I never maintained that relationship, no.
But the others you were in the theater school with have remained part of your personal life?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. I had a 40th surprise birthday party last year that my girlfriend threw me, and I was completely surprised. And my theater teacher, who I mentioned, Kate Roberts, who I hadn't seen since high school, she got in touch with her. She was there, and Ted was there, and so that was great. Yeah, I still see them.
Michael, what's changed, if anything, from your first visit to LA? You've already told us you go for pilot season. Mm-hmm. You've just done a CSIS?
A CSI.
A CSI. Yeah. Is it any different? I mean, I've had Canadian actors tell me that they get a post office box number in Beverly Hills
right.
to have mail forwarded.
Exactly.
But live in Toronto.
Yeah.
Because there are casting people who are more impressed with an address mm-hmm. than they are with a resume.
Yeah.
Has it changed?
No, I think the place is essentially the same, and there's also just this feeling that the beach is nice, but there's something about time, how quickly time passes there. And I think it's mostly the weather. It's nice day, nice day, nice day, nice day. You have the good audition on the nice day and the bad audition on the nice day, and suddenly you go down for the kind of proverbial 6-month experiment to see how it goes, and suddenly 6 months turns into 8 years, and you don't know where it's gone. So I think it's pretty well the same. I just think I have a healthier attitude toward the place now,
Has more work become available to you in Canada, whether theater, television, film?
Yeah, I've been really lucky here. I've even during those 8 years in Los Angeles, I would, the metabolism was I would, sit around doing auditions and waiting a long time for the phone to ring, and then I would get an offer to go and do a film in Guyana called Mustard Bath, and I would read the script, or I would, you know, and I would have to make a decision. I go, okay, do I give up my slot here where nothing's happening, and so or go off and creatively satiate myself? So that's what I ended up doing. And a lot of times I would tell the agency, I said, you know, I'm going for 5 weeks. Anybody? You know, and you know, eventually I don't think I even mentioned I was gone. Half the time I would just go and do the thing and come back. But I think that's part of being an actor anyway. You know, I have representation in Vancouver and in Los Angeles, and I think you kind of have to, you are kind of giving yourself over to that gypsy lifestyle of going where the work is. So.
But when you came out of the National Theatre School with those pals, was there ever any intention of making your way to Stratford and becoming a member of the company and having what might be thought of as the actor's security?
Yeah, definitely, especially when you're in theater school, you look at that place and Shaw as being, you know, getting into those corporations and that long gig is, it's like a life choice. You know, I really do think, you know, I had an opportunity to go with the young company at a certain time, and I know Richard called me out to do something, you know, a number of years ago, and it was always just whatever was going on, and I forget what it was at one point, but it was Chasing Rainbows, or I had a film to do, and it was this, you know, I remember sweating over this decision because I knew it was, you know, to work on Shakespeare for that long and to commit to, you know, getting a chance to play all the roles that someone like Colmes played is a decision.
But now you have those friends at the Soul Pepper Company.
Yes, that's true. So who knows?
Wouldn't that be a nice situation if you found the right part and the right vehicle?
Sure, yeah.
When was the last time you saw Perfectly Normal?
It's been a while. I would say, you know, 3 or 4 years anyway. Yeah. I just happened to catch it on television one night.
And what happens, Michael, when you see something like Perfectly Normal, as we are this evening, and can you look at him? Do you look at him?
Yeah, I can look at him. As esoteric as that some people feel that is, I do get a sense that, you know, Eve and I together kind of created this entity that was had quite a theatricality around him, and so it's that one's particularly easy to watch from a point of innocence and watch him. Yeah.
How old is your daughter now?
She's 7, going to be 8. So she's old enough to see it, actually.
I was going to say she could watch it tonight with us too.
That's true.
And is the woman in your life of the theater?
Yes, she is. The theater and film. Yeah. She just is in a film that's out now called Narc. So she plays Jason Patrick's wife. Her name's Krista Bridges.
Krista?
Krista Bridges.
Bridges.
Yeah.
Now that was the film that was made in Toronto under extreme circumstances because everybody believed in it.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And
found yourself in many of those, Michael? Where they said, "I'm sorry, we can't pay you Friday, but if you'll hold on."
Yeah, exactly. We believe in it. Yeah, definitely. And there are those labors of love that come up that you just you kind of have to just dive into, you know. The actor's life, when I think of 10 years going by so quickly, I'm reminded of something that someone said, I don't know who it was, an actor on the Actor's Studio I think I was watching, and he said that, you know, you leave theater school or you start out your life as an actor and you think, you postulate in your head that you have this infinite variety of roles you're going to play, and the reality is, you know, I'm going to be 41 and I think, no, you know what, it's actually a finite number of roles I'll play. And so when those ones come up that have that passion, have passionate people involved, and you get a chance to do them, you know, jump. That's my philosophy.
I compliment you on the work you have done so far in your life. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too.
And join us and alert the family.
Okay.
Perfectly Normal's on tonight.
Excellent, thank you.
Michael Riley. Thank you.
That's great, thank you.